I've often said that Mamelodi Sundowns is one of the few places in the league, if not the only one, where you can go from being really good to being world class. Patrice at Kaizer Chiefs. What has he gotten better at that you can point and say, yeah, no, as in, they're doing something with the Chiefs? Think about it. Usilepe got to come in a derby, not have pressure, feel it out, feel the atmosphere, feel all of those things, and not have to worry about having to score a winning goal when coming in. I would argue that now I've set that player up for future. You can look at Bruce Vuma, you can look at Miguel, you can look at Nkosimpile Ngobo, you can look at all of these different players. They haven't gotten better. Welcome everybody to the George Mokoena podcast. My name is George Mokoena. I am your host, and this is a place where we try to delve deeper into some of the issues and some of the trends and some of the news that is happening in South African football, where I give you my thoughts, but it's really to put it on the table so that we can have discussions, whether it be in the comments, whether it be in your friend groups, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be anywhere where you're having conversations, because what I am trying to do is to make us think a little bit deeper into what we are watching, what we are seeing, and hopefully make the South African football that we love that much better. I am not right all the time, but I am willing to put it on the table so that we can have a discussion. So feel free to comment on what you think about what I'm saying, like, share, subscribe, and help me grow this platform into something really big that can be beneficial for our football. I also have an interview with Jordaan Milford, a man who's gone overseas. He was there when Patrice Motsepe bought Mamelodi Sundowns and had just bought Mamelodi Sundowns. He has also been at Kaizer Chiefs. Great insights there. So please, on this here channel, you will find that interview. Now, let's get straight into what I want to speak about today. So, everybody's going to be speaking about the Soweto derby. The derby that was, the final that's coming. Everybody's going to be analyzing tactics, what, right? But I want to touch on something that was really interesting for me. And it's really for the future of our football. If you look at that derby game, Pirates finished that game with the Silepe having touched the pitch to make his debut for Pirates, with Mbogazi, with Nkota, with Mfukeng. And those players are going to become, in some cases, but a lot of them, if you look at Abo Nkota, Nabo Mfukeng, are going to have a ton of games under their belts. And you would never believe that a Soweto derby, one of the most important, most pressured, most watched, most everything games in South Africa, would be a place where you could give people debuts, would be a place where you could take a kid like Mbogazi, who beginning of the season was not even a thought in our minds, and have him start and play well. Jose Rivero with youth has done incredible, and many might think it's magic. But there's a structure, there's something that they've built there that makes it good for young players to emerge. And that is what you need, especially for the youth. Because I look over to that other bench, and I think about the players. I look at Ushabalala and I ask about his development. I look at Abo McCarthy, Abo Zwane, Abo Burgado. I think about the Chiefs DDC team that has just won the DDC. And I wonder, can those players make it into the Chiefs team? Can those players shine, grow, and develop? We're going to speak about development in the second topic more. In-team development, not pre-team development, but you look at them and you go, I don't see a pathway. And what I want to speak about today is that what Jose has done is create such a great structure for the young players. Because, when you look at the Pirates, you see certain dynamics. Number one, you have a coach that trusts the youth. And whether you like to believe it or not, It's a very tough thing to do in a cutthroat world, in a cutthroat team, in a team that's looking for a certain level of success. It's so hard to bring kids into that because it's the coach risking his job on a half-cooked player for them to come in and to perform, to come in and to have everything that's happening and take a 19, an 18, 19, 20, 21, even 22-year-old mind and orientate them towards what they need to do in this team. It's very hard. It's very hard to teach the players some of the things that they need to do to become professionals because they're learning. But what Jose has done so well is to give them shields. You know, there's a reason why, if you look at the centre-back pairings, the Pirates, over the past few years, it's worked that you have one Grootman, senior player. And I'm talking senior player on the pitch. I'm not talking about senior players who are in the dressing room, which is important, mentors and such. But I'm talking about on the pitch, where you have, right now, you have a Xoki standing next to Mbogazi. Say what you want about Xoki, but he's a really good captain. He's a really good leader, right? Say what you want about his performances. He just came back from injury. But you've paired two of them together and you've gone, boy, Nali Grootman, who's going to tell you what to do. At no point in this game will you be asked to be the leader of this team. You look at the middle, you have Mbata that's playing with a Makaula. Boy, Mbata, at no point will you need to shoulder what's going to happen in this midfield. You must grow. Sikpete, don't worry. You look at Mfukeng and how in his first season he was covered by having a Tito next to him. Jersey number 10, Kibeli Paul, the regulator of the Pirates, the pace regulator. Oh, by the way, behind him is Hotto, one of the best professionals in this league. Not only does that allow a player to play a position and grow without having the team on top of his shoulders, it allows them time. I get misunderstood a lot when I speak about Mfukeng. And I say Mfukeng is still a young, developing player. And I say about Mfukeng, and please bear with me, and I say about Mfukeng that if you watch his games, 85 to 90% of the time, he's not necessarily part of the game like that. And nor do I expect him to be part of the game like that as a player that is growing and developing. What he does very well, to his credit, 100%, is when he gets his chances, he takes them. When he gets a shot away, when the ball bobbles and the ball does this, he scores. But what we're not realizing is if Mfukeng can be out of the game for 80 minutes, yet Pirates can still be in the game in order to go win the game through the chance that he gets. That means that that team, throughout the team, is well built. Throughout that team, there are people who are shouldering the responsibilities of the team. There's a reason why Mbogazi, great performer. But when we speak about Pirates' defense, we're talking about Xoki. And we're saying, yo, Xoki. And believe it or not, that is a good thing. That's a strength. That means there's somebody there who can absorb the pressure that goes off of the team. I'll give you another example. Look at Umtutuzi Shabalala. Okay, so I know I stopped the video a lot, and a lot of you are wondering, why are you asking for money? So I wanted to show you. I asked for money because I want to do more of this. Huh? But the truth of the matter is that it took over an hour in order just to render that shot. And it takes even longer when I'm doing my normal content because, guys, here's the unsung hero of the channel. And unfortunately, Shem, wazama, but the screen is broken. I have to use a second screen and the performance is not up to it. So I'd really love to upgrade things like that. And when you look over here, this is what the setup looks like. Rehenga di patlo and rehenga di green screen, which is a reality of being a South African content creator. Also, this is what people think is my studio. It's actually my house. So if you still don't know that I'm doing all of this from my home, then I don't know. But that is essentially what I want to do. More of these cool things. But I need you guys to please help me out by donating 50 Rand or more into this account. You know, we're fighting for multi-choice. And multi-choice, but there are subscription models all over the place. And I'd love to give the biggest quality while also being able to pay my rent and do things like that. That is where your money is going. And I promise to give you only the best content that I can if you do throw something in. So I just wanted to show you guys what I want to do with your money. I want to take this South African football and fulfill my dream of taking it into the future. But thank you guys so much. Remember, this is the bank account that you deposit into. Get back into the video. We're all going crazy about Mdudu Shabalala. Why didn't you make the pass? Why didn't you do this? Hi, you're Hollywood. You need to learn to grow up. You need to learn to do this. You need to learn to do this. Meanwhile, Nkota, if you watch the last 20 minutes, lost a lot of balls. Maybe took the game a little bit lightly. You know, wasn't making the right decisions. But nobody's speaking about him, one, because obviously Pirates won, but two, because there's a sheltering that happens when you have senior players who can take the pressure off of these boys and they can go and be boys. There's a sheltering that happens when Nkota and losing the ball is not the be all and end all of the team. Because sometimes Mfukeng can score, sometimes Dlamini can score, sometimes Makaula, Hoto and all those guys can do the other work, even sometimes scoring, but can do the other work to make sure that that lost ball is not what kills the Pirates. Look on the other side. Yes, Mdu is at fault. I'm gonna go to Pirates' first goal. Mdu is at fault for making the wrong decision. When he had the ball high up, it's a counter-attack, it's four Chiefs players, I think it was versus 2 Pirates players. He has an open pass to his right, he tries to play to Lilepo through the 2 defenders, they win it, they go back, they score. Cool. He's at fault. But why is it that mistake, every mistake that a kid is going to make is going to be the be-all and end-all of how we view the team? That Mdu is going to have to now, throughout the week, shoulder the whole thing on his shoulders. Good day, when you're Hollywood, you are this, you are this, you are that. Where are the senior players and the other players who are doing the jobs to make sure that Mdu aren't under pressure and they can be themselves? Because I can only imagine what it's like to be Mdu and be given partial, if not a lot of responsibility to go and rescue Chiefs. And the habits and all of that you learn because you're still young. How do you get better from that? You are a great flower, you are a great plant, but now there's a weight that's been put on top of you. You can't grow. You're firm, you're good here. But you can't grow into what you need to be because unfortunately you have to carry this team. And environment is very important. I think the one thing also we don't give Coach Jose Rivero credit for is I think he understood that you need to go and win. Trophy after trophy after trophy after trophy. Now you've earned the trust. Now you've earned the ability to bring in the youngsters and play them and use the skills. He said he was a developmental coach more than anything, but to use the skills that you have. But you have to go out and win. Because if there's pressure, if that Pirates team is meeting Pirates team, Yabo Jabupule, You know, yabo Grootman, bo Patrick Mabedi, yabo Thabo Moki. You don't play those kids there. But what Jose has done with laying this foundation is to allow, imagine making your debut in a derby and you've got 20 minutes to play versus Chiefs in a packed stadium. And that's your first, your first interaction with the derby as a player. I would argue that now I've set that player up for future. Think about it. Usilepe got to come in the derby, not have pressure, feel it out, feel the atmosphere, feel all of those things, and not have to worry about having to score a winning goal when coming in. Just go and acclimatize yourself to this. The next time he goes and plays a derby, it's going to be a different team. It's going to be a different player, sorry. Now, if you look at the Chiefs players, how much damage can that do when I'm bringing you in to try and... you just come in and do something. Saluza. Just come in and do something. Psychologically, do you not damage some of those players? And this goes to a grander point that I'd love to touch on with South African football, where I don't think we are developing players on purpose. I think we're getting lucky. We're finding the players, you're putting them to development, you're throwing them to the wolves, and one or two of them are coming back. And you're like, yeah. You're not getting them ready to go face the wolves. You're not getting them ready. You know what I mean? Like, you're not putting them into places where they can learn and grow. It's like trying to take somebody who's got a learners. You've just got your learners. And I throw you into Joburg CBD. And I go, hey man, if you come back, you come back. And if you come back, I will take credit for developing you. Meanwhile, it was your instincts. And if you look at a player like Umdu, he has all of the instincts of a great player, but he hasn't had somebody to mold and shape him into a great player. Because there's no time to mold and shape him into a great player because the structure does not allow. I mentioned, just a couple of minutes ago, I mentioned Jabupule. Do you know why Abu Jabupule can come into Chiefs at 17? It's because he's got Abu Grootman. Do you know why Jabupule can blaze up the right-hand side? It's because Cyril Zama is behind him. When he acts out, Kono Munta ground and look and say, yay. I spoke to Captain Lakile Khwati, my captain with Pirates, Mpindamzal. And he said, he is where he is right now because when he came in, Bekonabo Old John. And Abo Old John were the ones who are saying, these old guys are moving out. Let's, there's a reason why Ulakili Khwati lasted so long at Orlando Pirates, because also on top of being a good defender, he was also somebody who could direct and tell the guys and get them right. I did an interview with him. We did an interview on Banter League, onside the Banter League on Podcast and Chill. So if you want to watch it, where he spoke about those things. Part of his job was to get everybody right, get everybody into minds. It's a derby, for example, the week of, he's the guy. When players are coming in, he's the guy Washugumisai. Look at Kaizer Chiefs. Do you think Mart Ushugumisa Bantu? And no disrespect to these players. I don't want to disrespect them. Do you think that some of the seniors that are there, Bashugumisa Bantu? Or are they just there? And this is where I know I'm speaking about talent development and youngsters development. But we also have to have a conversation about leadership and the development of leaders. Ronwen Williams is the captain that Ronwen Williams is because there's time that was put and taken into building him. Abu Themba Zwane, there's time that was taken into taking those qualities they have and building them. Ujostad Ladla, in the interview that I did with him, said that, in his team, like, don't make me captain and expect me to lead these guys. I can lead you on the pitch. I can lead you with my actions. But you need a Benson Mhlongo who's going to come out and lead the team holistically, who likes those type of things, who puts everybody into order, who does that. We're missing those things across the league because we're not taking time to develop those things. And I want to give credit to Jose, for having the balls to put those kids in, but also having the awareness to keep Abo Mayela around, to keep Abo Xoki around, to keep Abo Tito around. You can see when they show the back rooms and the change rooms, and how they speak and how they interact and how they help each other and do all of that. That also is a skill that a coach needs to have, a manager needs to have. And that is something that is woefully missing in our game, in my opinion. And that is why we're seeing these youngsters go by the wayside. What's happening to some of the guys that were great? Think about your Dalen Claessens. Think about the different youth conveyor belts that we had throughout the years. Where are those guys? There was a player who was so hot last season, and everybody was speaking about him. Uvelepai. Where is Uvelepai? And by the time Uvelepai takes the next step, after being in the PSL, by the time he takes the next step, if he has the and the counsel around him to take the next step, by the time he takes the next, he'll be 25, 26, 27. Now, I think it's his third or fourth year as the Chiefs' first team player, if I'm not mistaken. And already at some point last season, he had to be taken back to DDC. Is he moving forward? Abo Emil Vitboy Laba. Are they growing? Are they changing? Are they getting better? Or are we just allowing these kids to die? That's what's scaring me. But I think this is a conversation that we need to have. The other conversation that I wanted to have today, just quickly. Sundowns is incredible, guys. They're obviously going to go win the league. I think that's now out of question. They're going to go win the league. They're playing in the CAF Champions League final. If they win that, they get the second star. But that's not, again, what drew me to what's happening this season. I've often said that Mamelodi Sundowns is one of the few places in the league, if not the only one, where you can go from being really good to being world class. You know, Supersport is a place where you can go from being average or new or young to being a good player, and then you go from there. But Mamelodi Sundowns is one of the few places that can take you and make you world class, or at the very least continental class. And I was looking at some of the numbers, and this is insane. I'm gonna highlight two players, and then I'm gonna tell you about others. Number one, Reiners. What do we know about Reiners last season? 15 goals. Second top goal scorer behind Umabasa. What do you know about Ribeiro? Ribeiro had 12 goals last season. 4 assists, 16 goal involvements last season. Right? Great. It's a good return. It's a good return. This season, Ribeiro has 13 goals, less, fine, but he's got 7 assists, 20 goal involvements. Ribeiro. Reiners has 11 goals, 9 assists, also for 20 goal contributions. And it doesn't end there. Arthur Salesh has 5 goals and 7 assists. This is all in the league, for a grand total of 12 goal involvements. Arthur Salesh, the person that we complain about all the time. And what's insane for me is that that's showing incredible growth. And the ability to do that across the board. Yeah, people will say 60 million and people will say this and that. But to be able to do that across the board, I think Tash has also got over 10. goal involvements. I think Shalili has got over 10 goal involvements. And I know I'm focusing on goal involvements right now, but how insane is that? But that's not even the craziest part. When Reyners arrived at Mamelodi Sundowns, he was a speed merchant. He was a guy who was brought in for pace. I believe Coach Mangoba said that he's saving him for CAF games because he's fast. And then we saw the growth and the arrival of RMR, Reyners Matthews RIVEIRO. And there was a point where Reyners, after Coach Mangoba left, there was a point where Reyners, man, wasn't getting game time, wasn't up, right? Lo and behold, you watch the game that Sundowns just played. It was versus Cape Town City. There's a pass. There's a pass where Reyners gets into the box, Uyalvala, then he plays the ball into the smallest of windows. And I remember I was live streaming the game. I was doing a watch along. And in my head I said it, this is not the Reyners that I know. This is not the guy that I know. And then again, you run parallels. So if this is what Reyners has improved with, both in goals and assists, both with how he thinks, both with how he can execute certain things. You know, I've often said that Reyners was not the brain of the operation. He was the pace, but if he gets into the box, he finishes. That was basically all he would give you. But in any case, if Reyners is doing that, let's look at his peers, man. Patrice at Kaizer Chiefs. Again, I'm not bashing any players, but Patrice at Kaizer Chiefs. What has he gotten better at? As in, from the time he left Stellenbosch and arrived at Kaizer Chiefs to now, what has he gotten better at that you can point and say, yeah, no. As in, they're doing something like the Chiefs. RIVEIRO, Dushabalal. And I'm sorry to use Kaizer Chiefs, but this is a league-wide conversation. Dushabalal, Gaston Sereno, Bradley Cross. Now, I can point to all of these guys and say Ashley Patrice was one of the best up-and-coming strikers coming into the game. He was scoring goals at Stellenbosch. He was meant to take the next step. Dushabalal, one of the most exciting talents coming out of Kaizer Chiefs. He was supposed to take the next step. RIVEIRO, 17 goals the season before he joined Kaizer Chiefs, was supposed to take the next step. Gaston Sereno, one of the most effective 10s that we'd seen. Everybody was crying for him. Maybe at the time he left, not good enough to get into the starting lineup of Mamelodi Sundowns, but so far ahead of all the teams in the league in terms of creative forces, all the players in other teams in terms of creative forces from the 10, right? Or maybe below Tito or whatever. But anyway, he was up there, top 3, easily. Hasn't gotten better. Bradley Cross, one of the most exciting left backs coming from Golden Arrows. One of the best players at the position last season for me. Hasn't taken the next step. You can look at Bruce Vuma. You can look at Miguel. You can look at Nkosimpile Ngobo. You can look at all of these different players. They haven't gotten better. Again, how intentional are we with not only the development of the kids, but the development of the players? The older guys, whether it be you and your development on the pitch, what are we adding to you technically? What are we adding to you, your skill set? What are we teaching you that's going to make you better, well-rounded, more things that you can have in your arsenal? But also, are we making you a better leader, person? Look at how Abu Tebza have jumped in leaps and bounds in terms of leadership. Look at how easily Abu Adams slotted into the team and started doing things that we'd never seen. I joke about this a lot, but the truth of the matter is, you guys go to practice every single day. Kind of Coach Steve says you don't get paid to play, you're getting paid to practice because that's most of what you spend your time doing. What are we doing at our teams that we are seeing so many, or not doing at our teams, that we're seeing so many of these guys die, not get better, not improve, that we are suffocating them? We need to be intentional with how we grow our players. I loved what Ulakile Khwati said about old John Mabizela. And I loved it because Lakile Khwati is a captain that was groomed by another captain who was grooming Mart. Who's grooming the next guy? Abu Tefu, when they landed, they were captains. Abu Msimango, they were captains. They were exciting players. What's happening to them? What are we doing on a daily basis with these players? And you know my stance. I don't believe in bad players at all. I've never believed that there's such thing as a bad player. But I believe that they're put into the wrong positions. They are asked to do things they're not comfortable with. They are not grown when they are there. And they are not challenged. That's why you find the same player year 1 and the same player year 3. And the big difference is that here, Kambangawe, do you have the right parents? Do you have the right attitude? Do you have the right, all of these things? All of these are variables you can't control. Ngale, you are in a regiment for a reason. You're in a strict regiment for a reason. Because they need you to grow. Whether you've got a good attitude or bad attitude, yay. We need you to grow. We need you to go through the steps. Chandre Campbell, I fear when he comes back, Shem, he's going to be different gravy. You can already see it with his age mates right now. Club Brugge is being intentional with him. I don't know what's going to happen to Mfugeng with George Jose leaving. But you need to be intentional with those players. Abo Zwane, Abo Shabalala, Nabo Pusodi Tejani. You have to be intentional. Or else we're going to keep playing this lucky packet game. And I think Sundowns, I think there was a comment that was written on one of my videos that said Sundowns is an institution now. It's not a football team, it's an institution. Coaches get better, players get better. Hey! I'm going to end this off by saying well done to Mamelodi Sundowns. Well done to Dr. Patrice Motsepe and Tate Motsepe. Well done to Klopi for being brave enough to take the next step. Well done to Flemingberg for doing maybe something that people didn't understand, but it got you Coach Cardoso, and well done to Coach Cardoso. No preseason. A lot of his season, well, some of the season was gone when he jumped in. To be able to make these changes and grow people so quickly, that is insane. And maybe the question we should be asking is that if Jose is doing it very well, and if Cardoso is doing it very well, what are these overseas coaches bringing that our coaches are not learning here? But in any case, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you on the next one. Bye, everyone.